Arsenal return to Premier League action this weekend against Crystal Palace in a very interesting tie, having just seen Roy Hodgson's team play just a couple of days prior in the FA Cup as they were beaten by Everton. Arsenal welcome back Gabriel Jesus. We're going to be talking about all about this game and more very shortly with some fantastic guests. Hello and welcome to the Gooner Talk, back again with you guys for another episode of what is our Arsenal preview series, a show in which we look ahead to the next Arsenal fixture. And today's show, as always, I'm joined by some fantastic guests to talk about Arsenal's game against Crystal Palace. First of all, joining us for the first time in a while is Pablo. How you doing, Pablo? You good? You well, mate? You're on mute. Classic, brilliant, perfect, dream start. There it is. He's still on mute. It's there.
It's been so long, I forgot what I'm doing.
Goodness,
thanks for having us, Tom, and appreciate it. Looking forward to this one.
No worries, man. Good to see you and speak to you again. Joining us as well is Dan. How you doing, Dan? You good? You well?
Yeah, all good, thank you. How you doing? You well?
Not bad, mate. Not bad at all. And making up our quartet this evening is Alex. How you doing, Alex?
Yeah, I'm not too bad at all. I'm very happy the Arsenal are back playing, to be honest, because it's been a bit of a lonely week.
Yeah, it sucks, to be honest. Like sometimes I'm like, it's good to have a break, especially after our form being so poor. It's nice to not have your weekend ruined in some ways, but it's been dull. I found it really dull, especially because there's other Premier League games going on. I thought that would help. That for me made it worse that there were other Premier League games going on, like City obviously winning, and then we have to watch them come back in their game, and then frustratingly we have to wait to be able to respond. And thankfully the likes of Aston Villa drew, and Spurs also drawing with Manchester United as well, which made it a bit better. But my goodness me, did it feel like it dragged out somewhat. But Crystal Palace at home, it's a nice game, Pablo, to come back to. I say that with fingers crossed, on touching wood, certainly.
Is there such thing as a nice game? We are. No, to be honest with you, we could have had a lot worse than Crystal Palace to come back to. I'm hoping that this break has kind of got the team back to sort of in their mental state, back where they need to be, and hopefully the fans as well, because obviously, as you know, I go to the Emirates every week, and the atmosphere the last couple of times, you could literally cut it with a knife because he was horrendous in there. And that obviously reflects on the players. So I'm kind of hoping that although the break was boring for us, watching all the other Premier League teams play, I do believe that hopefully this is a fresh, almost like a fresh start for everyone. We've had a break. Everybody comes back with a bit of lift and ready to go.
Yeah, absolutely. Dan, do you see this Dubai break as a good thing? Because I've seen plenty of people attempt to try and say that we rewarded some bad form with a holiday.
I think they needed it. I think the games were coming thick and fast, and they were suffering. Like the lack of form, the fact that we, I think, created more chances up to this point this season compared to last season, but we've scored, is it under one goal a game?
I didn't know that. Do you have the numbers?
Yeah, I don't have them thing, but I saw them on Twitter. We've created more chances, clear chances this season compared to last, but we've scored. I think it's like 1 out of 3 compared to last season.
I'll see if I can.
So, but it's showing. We're cutting teams open and just not doing nothing with it, and it's a hard watch, because then you can play so well for so long in a game, and then they go and score a goal, and I think that's where Pablo is experiencing that the crowd. It's like mute, isn't it? Like they're expecting us to keep going rather than getting behind the team like last year. I don't know. I haven't been to the stadium. I want to experience it, but they need to get a bit louder.
Yeah, it does. There's something about this season at the Emirates that is. You're right. I think it's personally down to the expectation changing. And if we're not leading by 10 minutes, people are like, well, what's this about? Oh, why aren't we winning? There's a little bit maybe entitlement about it, if you like. I think we need to be humbled a bit. And there's people can talk all they like about the allocation being cut for the Ashburton Army or the ballot or whatever, but there's 46,000 odd season ticket holders in that ground, that are supposedly diehard fans. We need to get behind the team. For me, it's the players first and the manager first always. But if we want to talk about the atmosphere, I think there's sometimes where you do have to look internally at ourselves sometimes. We can do better. Well, you guys can. I can't. I'm silenced in the press box, but trust me, I still try my best, even from the position of being basically muzzled at times. Alex, of course, Palace are a side that we have had our issues against in the past. How much do you think, though, that their game on Wednesday, going all the way up to Goodison Park, losing, getting knocked out of the FA Cup, having 2 days between then and this game, will affect how they will play?
I think it'll be a mixture. They might be a little bit leggy, but on the other side of that, having just lost the game, they're gonna be hungry to not lose this one. I don't think that they're by any means a bad team, so I think we need to be at our best. Us having been well rested, I think that's important. I think we needed a break. I don't think that you can see it as a holiday in the same sense of, they've still got to train, they've still got to put work in. And I think we needed a bit of a mental break, probably more so than a physical break, to be honest, because I think as a team, been through the ringer a little bit the last month or so, it's been all over the place. So I think it's very important that they had that opportunity. But I think everyone. Well, not everyone. So some people have reacted in the sense of
he's listened to this show a few times. And
I think some people have reacted to what's happened and said, title race is over, everything's over. We're not that far off it, I don't think. I mean, points wise, I think form wise, certainly we're miles off it. But what you need to consider is whether we can turn it around. Obviously, the second half of the season has a bad context within the Arsenal fan base, but I'm trying to be optimistic when I can, because what else can you do?
No, of course, but I think there's one thing under Arteta's tenure is that he's been good at kind of quashing the banana skins, if you like, of Arsenal, be that, records away at Big Six sides, winning at Old Trafford, winning at Spurs, our record at Palace, our record at home against Brighton, things that haven't gone historically too well for Arsenal in recent past has been addressed by Arteta. So we're hoping that the second half of the season will be another one. I did check those numbers, by the way. I can't get the exact figures in terms of like the amount of chances correct, but what I can say is that last season we averaged 14.11 shots in every game. This season it's 15.25. So we are averaging more shots, but you're right, Dan. We're just not scoring as many goals. And Pablo, that is where the focus will be tomorrow, or rather on Saturdays. The focus will be on the fact that Arteta's going to have to pick one of the centre forwards. I know we'll come on to our 11s in a bit, but with Jesus back, I think that the overall consensus will be that he'll start Jesus once again. How are you feeling about what needs to be shown? Because I don't think just a 1-0 win is enough on Saturday. I think Arsenal need to win and win well to get that momentum.
I mean, to be honest with you, obviously everyone can see the chances are being created. Yeah. And it's frustrating to watch all these chances coming by against Liverpool. As you can name pretty much most games, barring maybe Fulham and a couple of others. Yeah. We've created the chances, we're just not finishing it. I think that's down to pressure as well, for where the success we did have last season is kind of having a knock-on effect this season, where kind of you're expecting Martinelli to finish, Saka to finish his chances, Jesus and stuff like that. And then as they're not finishing, then the pressure just keeps mounting up and mounting up and mounting up. So it gets to a point where I don't think there's much Arteta can do to fix that. Yeah, because that's something that the players within themselves are going to have to get a couple of lucky goals and then just sort of trying to build from there. And they're going to have to pick themselves up. Yeah. I think on Saturday is going to be the first sort of 15, 20 minutes is going to be very important for Arsenal. Because if we're 15, 20 minutes into the game, we're not really creating much, or we are creating and we're missing silly chances, then again, the same pressure we had before the break is just going to bounce straight back again. And then you're going to start seeing the same repeat of things to happen. And I think an early goal is kind of almost like a must for us. And then once we get that early goal, that might actually even just settle everybody, crowd, fans, Arteta, everyone. And then we'll start sort of playing the way we know we can play. Yeah. But at the moment, I just think is that pressure is that 20, 25 minutes to get a goal.
Well, it's better because it used to be the first minute because we used to concede inside like 30 seconds too often.
Some
games.
people expect it within a minute.
It got to the point where I was looking at the clock, waiting for it to tick over a minute because our record was so bad inside the first minute. So yeah, but you're right. An early goal changes things for us. It didn't against Fulham, but we obviously played really poorly that day overall. And it was kind of a bit of a fluky goal in the sense that we scored that one. So I think an early goal and a good performance. I think we can all usually tell within the first 5 to 10 minutes what type of performance we're going to see from the side today. You know, if it's energetic, if it's like the Sevilla game, if it's like the Brighton game at home, you know that we're going to be peppering the opposition all game with chances. But if it's like the Fulham game and it's timid and it just lacks that edge, I mean, the Liverpool game sometimes as well was a bit deceiving because we again peppered them in the first half and dominated things and should have been leading in that half, and we didn't take our chances, and sadly we were punished, and we can't afford to do that against Palace. Dan, there has been some interesting kind of whispering around social media today about the Dubai trip and kind of who's in form, and Smith Rowe's names come up. Do you foresee a way back for him into the squad?
100%. I don't think he's been sort of pushed out because of his skill and ability. It's more like maybe game management with regard to his injury. Because I remember when Martinelli had that bad injury and he came back, I think it was a whole season. We was waiting for him to get a good stretch of games. All he kept getting was 10 minutes, 5 minutes, 20 minutes. And I think the crowd were disgruntled, to say the least. But then the following season, once he built up his body again, he hasn't looked back since. So he's got 2 seasons now in the first team, flying high. I think Smith Rowe is just being managed. He's come off the back of 2 big operations, and you know we all love him. He's got the number 10 for a reason.
And I think there's something to be said about where he might play. You know, if he's to come into the team, and I think that left-hand side is pretty locked down. You know, between Trossard and Martinelli and Nelson now, of course, who started against Liverpool. So you'd imagine if he is to play, he would start in the middle. Do you see him? Do you think that is where he's going to be best for us?
I think so. It'd be nice if he could start getting minutes. You know, like when Odegaard is sort of tiring towards the end of the game, bring him on in that 10 role, but maybe shore up the left-hand side, because we can't have him darting through, Havertz darting through, and then leave a massive gap. So there has to be a bit of balance there. So if he's going to start Havertz in the left 8, Smith Rowe comes on for him, because they're effectively going to do the same thing, except for Smith Rowe's going to do it with the ball at his feet, and Havertz is going to do it as like a ghost run into the back of the box, isn't he?
Absolutely. And I really do hope that he gets more opportunities and is able to show what he's capable of. Because if he comes back and he's on form for us, to use the classic cliche, it will be like having a new signing in the squad, because we've just not had Smith Rowe really there and in and around the team, which is interesting. Now, Alex, the left-hand side is obviously coming for a bit of criticism over the last few weeks. And Zinchenko, he's not been pictured in training. There's not been an expectation that he's trained, and he is a doubt for this weekend still. We know that Tomiyasu's away at the Asia Cup, which means that Jakub Kiwior is likely to start another game in this role that some people say he can't play. Some people say that, you know, I'm included in this group to say that we've seen him be able to show some good performances in this position. He does it for his national side, of course, as well. But how do you feel about the continuation of him playing in that position?
I think that this is one of the, and this is me probably criticising Arteta to an extent.
You are allowed to do that.
Yeah, no. I was thinking about how I'm saying it, I suppose. I think that the way in which we play is very set, and perhaps where we've reached a point where we don't have any players who can play that position. I think we have to look back potentially to last season and think what worked then. Maybe we push Kiwior inside, and we have Ben White, who is going to go off and be the attacking threat on that side. Like, I understand the need for consistency in terms of how you play, in terms of the pictures that the players are going to see need to be consistent. But I also think that putting players out of their comfort zone is not always beneficial, and especially when we're trying to build confidence back up. And I'm not saying we completely change the way we play. I'm just saying we invert on a different side. You know, he loves to invert. I think the left-hand side is difficult though because of the left wing position as well. You know, with Martinelli sort of not firing. Trossard's obviously had a mixed season. But then I think, you know, we look at it and we say, oh, the whole team's probably has been underperforming. So how are we going to get confidence back? You know, you can use a lot of tools. You can look at the way in which we've played before that has worked for the players. Maybe changing it back to that might bring some form of confidence back. Obviously, it's up to the players to score at the end of the day. It's up to them to win games to an extent. But we also have to look at the manager in the sense of he's got to facilitate that for them. You know, we can't just if things aren't working and you keep on going, then you know what's going to happen down the line. I'm worried Eze and Michael Elise against Kivior. I'm worried.
Elise's not fit, thankfully.
Oh, is he not? Oh well,
no, Eze will be
though. Because yeah, I'm a big fan of both of those players. But I think that's just one thing that we should look at. And you know, I'm just going to shout out to my friend Connor, who's always said that he thinks Martinelli should go and play down the middle. Apologies to shout out on the show, but yeah, I didn't want to take the idea as my own. In terms of getting him nearer the goal, and in terms of when we've struggled and Eddie Nketiah has not been playing particularly well, you know, we've not really had an option for such a long time as a second option, and it doesn't look likely to happen in January. So, you know, if it's not working, you've got to do something about it, and you've got to use the players you've got if you're not going to sign any others. So,
yeah, you do. And that's why I'm glad I was asking about Smith Rowe earlier as well, because I think it is about trying to find different answers to what problems that we've got right now. We're going to go to our lineups. Dan, I think we're starting with you. We are indeed. Talk us through your picks and why.
Okay, well, I'm hoping Ramsdale keeps his place because I think the last game he definitely showed he deserves to have a little run now. You know, Raya's had his little run. Time to hand it back to Ramsdale and see what he can do. Back four, I've gone for the same: Kivior, Gabriel, Saliba, White. But my intentions were that Kivior stays as the left back, so left centre back, and White inverts. Because if he's not overlapping on Saka's side, I don't see why he's not pushing into the middle. He's good at distributing. He's good at his positioning. Good. It just makes sense to have him and Jorginho holding the base, and then it'll allow Rice and Odegaard to push forward. Rice being more of like a disruptor, and Odegaard being the creator, and then it allows Martinelli, Jesus, and Saka, the five up top, to really sort of cause some damage. Because we're waiting for White to go down the wing, and it's just not happening. Whether it be through his injury or it's a tactical change. Something just ain't clicking on that side, and what it's doing is it's forcing the left-hand side to overwork, and just Kivior don't have the legs to go from left back to left centre mid and back again. So why not just play him as a left centre back and leave him there? Let Saliba and White push up, or even Saliba push up just a little bit and let him do the passing out from the back.
Yeah, I like the words on Ramsdale. I'll probably expand on that one and talk with my 11 as well. But, you know, Odegaard, I think, needs a really big 2024. He started the season. There's obviously been questions about replicating what he did during the season that we competed for the title, 15 non-penalty goals. Was an incredible tally that you can't expect him to reach every single season, I don't think. But certainly we want to see more goals from Odegaard and probably some extra creativity as well. Alex, talk for it, mate.
Yeah, so I completely agree that if we're being consistent with it, Ramsdale should start. However, I don't think we will be, and I think Raya will start. Obviously, I'm for similar reasons to Dan. I've got Kivior playing left centre back. I've sort of talked about it a little bit. We need Rice because Palace are a team that are very dangerous on the counter attack. They've got quite a lot of pace. You know, they've got a couple of strikers who can hold the ball up, and they've got a couple of attackers who are in reasonable form, bar obviously the loss. But I think that Declan Rice is sort of the key with Gabriel, which is why I've put him as my star man, because I'm worried about that side of the pitch. So I'm hoping Gabriel will be the star man, sort of shut down that threat a little bit, and provide Kivior with the support. Havertz I've put in because Palace are a very physical team, and I think that he does provide that. Martinelli has been a little bit lackluster for me. So I've put Trossard in. I think that his ability to finish is obviously, he's probably the best finisher on our team when he's on form, and I'd like to see that he's able to get the chance to do that. I don't think Saka's undroppable, but I think he's not far away from that. So just in terms of when he has a good game, it tends to mean that we win. And Jesus coming back in is a blessing for this game because, again, from the physical side of things, I think that Jesus has the ability to hold the ball up when he needs to, or in one way or another. And yeah, I think that, like the others were saying, early goals are going to be key. And whilst we haven't got a plan B to an extent, we need to be able to finish using the players we've got. And I think that we have our best finishers on the pitch with that lineup, personally.
No, it's difficult to disagree. Pablo, finish us off, mate.
All right, yeah. So I've pretty much gone with the same team as Dan. I think almost every position, kind of everybody sort of, who's going to start. You got your preferred players, except for that left-hand side. Always seems to be a bit of a discussion there. So is it Martinelli? Is it Trossard? So to me, I'm going to go with Martinelli purely because I believe his pace is a threat at home. And he kind of thrives on being I think he plays a lot better at home than what he does away, to be honest with you. And then in midfield, obviously, I'm sort of going from top to back, but you get my point. In midfield, I'm going with Jorginho as well. Reason being is that hopefully he can be a bit more of the disciplined player at the back and allow Rice to get more involved in the game, because as Alex said, they are a physical side. And I mean, you need Rice to kind of almost have that freedom to be able to try and dictate the game. And then Kivior is obviously the other change instead of Zinni. Reason being is because Zinni's injured. I reckon if he's fit, he starts for me, especially at home. I think we will be the team on top of Palace, not Palace on top of us. And that's when you want Zinchenko playing. Yeah, is when you're the team that is on the attack. And for me, without a shadow of a doubt, Ramsdale should be given a chance. That's one of the things that has frustrated me about Arteta is this whole goalkeeping situation. It is what it is. We're there now. We have to live with it. But I know that from a lot of fans out there, Ramsdale is still number one choice. And he hasn't actually, even the last game that he played, I thought he'd done really well. Really well.
Yeah. I think that the theme of the front three is an interesting one. I really toiled with bringing in Havertz to the 11 because I just thought that I liked what he did against Liverpool. It just needed a goal. But with Jesus coming back, do we want to give him the chance to build up momentum? And I guess the answer is yes. I think you do, and think Palace is a good opportunity to do that. But yeah, you're right to highlight the Ramsdale situation again. I've gone with Ramsdale here. I'd like to see him start. Do I think that he will? No. Like Alex, I don't think that he will start at all. I think that Arteta will continue with his first choice Premier League keeper. And I think that is arguably unfair because I think the performance from Ramsdale against Liverpool was of a standard that he deserves to come back in for the next game. I really don't want that to be his final game in an Arsenal shirt. And I hope that it is an injury, of course, that forces that to change things if Raya was to have an affliction. But it just seems to me like that he's not been given a fair crack of the whip at all this season. And if he doesn't come into this game, I don't know where else you're going to see him until there's an issue with Raya, of course. For me, Saliba is always going to be key. I know that this is a game in which we're expecting goals, but Saliba's foundation to stop those counter-attacks, stop the opportunities that Palace will create is going to be really important. We can't concede in these types of games. We need to make sure that we keep clean sheets, especially at home, because that's been something that we really do need to improve on is our home record with clean sheets. the rest of the team, I think the boys have done an excellent job of rounding up. The other, obviously, quite a big pick in there is Smith Rowe. Jorginho was missing from the training images this week. We're not 100% sure if he's out or fit or what. We'll find out more about that in Mikel Arteta's press conference tomorrow. But he has had and suffered with a foot problem in the last couple of months. So unless that's resurfaced and that's why he wasn't in those images and those videos, we'll have to wait and see. But if that is the case, even so, I think there is scope to be a bit more attacking in this game. And Smith Rowe, if indeed these rumours are to be believed that he's had a fantastic time away. By the way, I did my 11 well before those came out. I wanted to see Smith Rowe in there anyway, just because I wanted to give him the opportunity in 2024 to kind of kickstart with a clean slate, if you like, coming back after the break and seeing what he can do. So Smith Rowe and Ødegaard with Rice in behind, I think is going to be a very interesting one if indeed that is the selection. Right, we'll finish today's preview, of course, as we always do, with our predictions. Pablo, we'll start with you. Scoreline and scorers, please.
I'm going to go 2-0 Arsenal. I backed Martinelli, so I think Martinelli will get a goal. And then, I don't know, maybe Rice. Just
the passion always flowing through Pablo there with his prediction. I don't know, maybe Rice. You're describing your dinner at this point.
Yeah, I was talking to the missus. Sorry, you asked something?
No, maybe Rice. Maybe Rice. Oh dear, Dan.
I'm gonna go on a wild one. I think this is the whooping that we've all been waiting for. I know they're gonna cause problems, but it's time for a 4-0. 4-0, yeah. And I reckon Ødegaard, Nelly, Jesus, and yeah, I'll have a bit of Rice as well. Let's have that.
Lovely stuff. 2 Rice on the menu so far. Alex.
Sounds like my normal order at a takeaway.
I'll tell you what, I went out for an Indian the other day, and this is going to sound so partridge, right? But like, I was like, I've never had a biryani before. I'm always like, order my curry, order my rice. And so I went for a biryani, which of course is a rice dish, and I will never go back to my old order. I'm sticking with it now. Biryani,
it's amazing, isn't it?
It's unreal. I think I had one a few years ago where they do it in like the pie pastry and like the pastry over the top, and then which is really good. But yeah, I'm a biryani man now, and yeah, no more 2 rice with my curries, mate. It's going straight in there. So. Alex, you don't have to tell us your Indian order.
Well, I mean, I'll bring it up. So I'm going to cause shockwaves, I reckon.
Oh, no.
I don't like rice. I never have in my life. I've never liked it.
Just close his box, please.
So and what I realised early doors in my life was if I didn't eat rice, I could always order a side when we had an Indian as a family. So I always have just curry, naan,
double naan,
some sort of side dish. So I have chicken Ceylon is my curry order. I love chicken. Very, very nice. And so
FK's in a dream if he's watching this. He loves talking about food on his podcast. Go on, Alex.
Yeah, I do like Rice the player, just in case anyone. I've seen Matt's put in there. But yeah, I think we will win 3-0. I think Gabriel will score from a corner. I think Trossard will score, and I think that Jesus will score on his comeback. Yeah, and I'm probably going to order a curry tonight now because
it's now. It's Thursday. I'm trying to think now what night curry night is at Spoons. Is it Wednesday curry
Thursday?
Night?
Curry's Thursday.
Thursday. It's Thursday.
I worked for Spoons for 2 years. I remember it well.
Pablo, I feel like I'm doing you a disservice if I don't give you the opportunity to tell us your curry order.
Oh, okay. I'm a jalfrezi guy. I like a lamb jalfrezi.
That was mine before I discovered biryani.
Love a lamb jalfrezi with pillow rice and keema naan. And yeah. Oh, don't love you guys, man. I'm supposed to be on a diet.
So am I. Danny boy, what's going with the 2 rice? Just checking.
Sorry?
I'm checking what Dan's going with 2 rice.
Two rice. No, I like biryani as well. That's one of my favourites. One thing, or it used to be creamy butter, but now it's obviously creamy butter tofu. That has a different level of flavour to it. But yeah, more recently it's been biryani.
Are you veggie now?
I'm vegan.
Oh, you're
vegan? I've been vegan over 2 years. Yeah.
I was saying this the other day. If I was vegan or vegetarian, I would just eat curry. I reckon because with vegan especially, like I mean, my housemate's vegan, and he eats so much curry. So
he needs to watch my channel, mate. I'm going to start showing him how to cook real vegan food.
Give that a shout out, Dan. I was very impressed by not only what you produced, but the overhead camera setup was excellent.
Thank you. That was forced. The next one's going to be even better. But yeah, I started a vegan food channel called Vegan Vital Kitchen, and me and my partner, we've been vegan. I've been vegan 2 years. She's been about 9-10 years now. And some of the food she's put on the plate in front of me, like lasagnas and whatever, just really inspired me to say, you know what, we need to share what we're cooking, because I've got a massive passion for cooking food. I watch FK Snack Checks and I get excited because I want to see what he's about to have, like, you know. We started the channel a couple of weeks ago, and yeah, it's really exciting how it's going already. And I've got my little camera set up now, getting ready to do the third video. So yeah. Second one will be out tonight.
Say the channel again, just so people can hear it for a second time.
The Vegan Vital Kitchen.
Vegan Vital Kitchen. Perfect.
Yeah. I'll send it in the Discord again later as well.
There we go. Is it where it says make it plant powered? Is that it?
That's the one.
That's the one. I'm going to put it in the chat box, people, for those that want to see it. So you can go and check out the food channel. I'll tell you what, if I was ever to branch out into any other medium, it would definitely be food, like 100%. I love cooking as well. Like tonight, we got a sausage ricotta pasta, which won't excite the vegans, I'm sure.
No. Remember, I replaced what you're saying, sausage, with something else. So that sounds great. Keep going.
Oh yeah. So it's just like, I mean, it's yeah. So you just fry up the I can't believe we're doing this.
Let's do it.
We've been unsubscribing by the thousands. Yeah, just fry up the sausage with, you know, just the general kind of the Italian base of celery and carrot and red onion and stuff, and then get your herbs involved, get your red wine vinegar involved, fry that up, let it sizzle away. Then you add the tomatoes, cook them down, so you're kind of the sticky sauce situation. Add a little bit of stock and let that cook down in the oven, unlike when you put the frying pan in the oven. Let that kind of get all sticky and stuff, and then add your pasta at the end, any pasta you want, and it's top.
Nice. So, it sounds really good.
It's very good. It's very good indeed. Right, where were we? Predictions, I think.
I think it's your prediction.
Big wins. Yeah, I've got mine still to go. I'm going to go for 3-0 win. I'm going to go Jal Frazee, Biryani, and no, hold on, that's wrong. Declan Rice and Jesus with. I'd love Smith Rowe to score. That'd be great. See Smith Rowe get on the end of it. I know I usually go for a Ben White screamer, but I'm breaking the rules today. I'm going for a Smith Rowe screamer. Just to really like the vibes, I think. But let's go into the chat box and see what you guys have said. Predictions. I'm having to scroll up a lot now because there's all coming into the chat box. It says 3-0 Jesus hat trick. Jane says 5-0. Rancid Pumpkin says 1-0 Arsenal with an own goal from Holding. That would be quite the amusing thing. Lynn says 3-1. Cesar says 5-1. And Tom will a 5. I don't know. I think you have to agree to a bet before you start losing money. The Joker says Arsenal 4, Crystal Palace 2. Jay Collins says this is why I'm here, curry chat. So there you go. The curry talk continues tomorrow morning, of course, at 8 a.m. But thank you everyone for listening. Please do show my guests plenty of love in the chat box and the comment section. I imagine the comment section is going to be filled with people's curry orders now, which we're welcome. So please do leave your picks in the comment section down below. But Pablo, thank you for your time, mate. It was a pleasure.
Thanks for having us, Tom. Really enjoyed it again, and let's hope for a win on Saturday.
Let's keep those fingers crossed. Dan, always a pleasure, mate.
Thank you, and thank you for having me on again. And hello to you, boys. Been a long time since I've seen your faces.
And it's Vegan Vital Kitchen. You can find food channels, a couple of videos already up. So yeah, get involved. And lastly, but not least, Alex, thank you for your time, mate.
Really enjoyed it. Thanks, listeners, and Tom, and the rest of the panel. And you can always find me on the Discord. And of course, if anyone is localish to Bournemouth and wants to come and watch women's football, I now coach a women's football team called Sports. So
nice.
It's quite a good standard actually.
Really?
Yeah,
excited to see how it goes, mate.
We're second in the league, looking for promotion to the National League in women's football.
If I start seeing hashtag Alex out, I know it's not going too well. So
I may have started that. Sorry.
I'm not surprised.
I thought he was going to say if anyone's local to Bournemouth, come out for a meal, but no.
Or,
just-
well,
I was going to say, I'll cook you a great
Or come
jalfrezi. Chicken
Yeah.
salad or whatever it was. But thank you so much, guys, for listening. Really appreciate your time. Do drop a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you're new around here with those notifications turned on so you never miss a show. We'll be back, of course, live bright and early tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. to bring you all the latest updates surrounding the club and the last 24 hours. To discuss, of course, Arsenal returning from Dubai. Maybe there'll be some transfer news. We keep our fingers crossed that there is, but I can't make any promises, that's for sure. But thank you for listening. Stay safe, stay well, stay happy, and as always, up the Arsenal.